President Joe Biden is not exactly thrilled with his low poll numbers. In fact, he's pretty furious with them, as well as plummeting morale at the White House. This is according to a new report in Politico. Citing 5 White House insiders and Democrats close to the administration, Politico's Jonathan Lemire reported that the 79-year-old Biden has grown frustrated with his continually low poll numbers and is pushing for more face time with the voters. Ah, yes. The public push comes after Biden expressed exasperation over the fact that his poll numbers have fallen below those of former President Donald Trump, whom Biden refers to as the worst president behind closed doors, according to the report. Oh no, his poll numbers are falling. You don't say. Gee, I wonder if that happens, or is that as a result of not doing anything? You know, as the president of the United States, you're actually supposed to do stuff. Yeah. Now, look, again, I'll point to the fact that Biden's track record is very bad. Not getting a lot of things passed. And I understand Congress is part of the problem as well, where basically, they had COVID relief and a bipartisan corporate giveaway bill. Ooh, that's about it. The rest of his agenda, so-called agenda, dead in the water. He doesn't have anything. Now, of course, you can go and blame Republicans, and sure, they definitely share some blame in this one. They're the ones who, no matter what, block legislation. Yeah, of course. You can also blame Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. Yeah, those are players in it as well, and they're important. But here's why it comes back to Biden. Here's why the buck stops at the top, right? Remember in the campaign trail, every single establishment Democrat pundit on cable TV, Biden's team, Biden himself, they said, no, Joe Biden, he's going to be better. He's going to be better than anyone else because he can bring Republicans together. He can do bipartisanship. He can reach across the aisle. He's got these relationships with all these different senators, congressmen. Yeah, he knows how to get things done, Joe Biden. What happened? Nothing. Nada. But I love how they made that argument. And they're like, he can actually get things done. Unlike Bernie Sanders. The Republicans will never work for a socialist like Bernie. Well, really, how's that going? How's it going? Not very well. Now, look, I'm not saying that Bernie could have gotten everything that he wanted or really anything through Congress, because Congress is essentially incredibly corrupt. They're not going to let anything go past it, especially the Senate. The House continues to pass legislation, House Democrats. And the Senate just blocks it over and over again. Still, there are certain things the president can do. They do have things called executive orders. For example, student loan debt. There's no doubt in my mind that somebody like Bernie Sanders would have canceled at least $50,000, if not all, student loan debt at this point already. Immediately. Might have even used emergency COVID powers to try to extend Medicare to all Americans. Those things would be incredibly popular with the voters. Now, as for Congress, again, not a whole lot he can do when it comes to Congress, but could at least use the bully pulpit, try to shame some people. So, shame Manchin and Sinema, for example. Look, Joe Manchin, deeply, deeply corrupt. Joe Manchin, his daughter, literally colluded with Pfizer to make sure that they can continue to have the monopoly on the EpiPen. You don't think that the, Sanders administration, had there been one, or even the Biden administration, if they wanted to, could call up the Justice Department and say, hey, we might want to look into some corruption here, because we think that there's a bit of corruption going on between Mylan Pharmaceuticals, or had been, involving Heather Bresch and the CEOs of Pfizer. Why don't we look into that? Oh, unless you want to play ball and pass our agenda. That's how you play hardball. Joe Biden won't play hardball. And look, to be fair, maybe even Bernie Sanders probably wouldn't go that hard because he's like too nice. But again, if you want to get something done, you kind of got to carry a big stick. And Joe Biden does not have a big stick. He does not, certainly does not try to use it. And unfortunately as well, you have a media that tends to cover for him. Look, Joe Biden, the simple fact is, the singular promise that he made to people that I can bring Washington together, he has failed on that. Now, look, me and other progressives, we saw through that. We knew that, of course, he's not going to bring Republicans together. That's insane. That's incredible naivete. You remember during the Obama-Biden administration, where Republicans blocked every single thing that the Obama administration tried to do. An unprecedented obstruction. But what did Obama say? Oh, don't worry, the fever will break. The fever will break. And Joe Biden basically doing the same thing. Oh, I can get Republicans together. We can work on things, of course. How did that go? How did that go? Not very well. Now, again, the other issue here is the media. They're not reporting the truth on this. The Washington Post recently did a huge piece on how the White House supposedly lost Joe Manchin. But again, doing that, they didn't report a damn thing about Joe Manchin's conflicts of interest, his corruption. They just talked about, oh, well, they just had some differences. And, you know, what Biden did kind of offended him a little bit. And he decided to just tank the president's entire agenda. You know, just for no other reason that he was just a little bit upset. No, it's the corruption. It's the fact that he owns coal companies that he profits from to the tune of $500,000 a year, just about, that his son owns. Do you think he's going to do anything? He's going to pass a bill or allow a bill to go through reconciliation that does anything about climate change? No, of course not. That's absurd. You think he's going to do anything that gets in the way of the donors? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So look, that's what's going on here. And the Washington Post and Politico, they don't mention any of this. Oh, the corruption? Oh, we don't see it. Doesn't exist. Not one mention. Absolutely unbelievable, but actually totally believable. Not one damn mention of the corruption. Irresponsible journalism. When somebody like me can sit here and see, oh, you have all these donors that are giving money to these politicians, and then these politicians vote against things that are actually super popular with the American people. It doesn't take a genius to figure this out. It's money. It's the corruption. And Congress is incredibly corrupt. And so is Joe Biden. Because he takes that money too. They all take that money. Now, another thing the media and the White House have not learned is why people are so mad at Biden. Oh, you know, it must be this issue and this issue and this issue. For example, they blame this and the plummeting White House morale on staffing shakeups, including the recent departure of Jen Psaki. The numerous national crises like supply chain issues, which are very, very real, and inflation hitting grocery bills and gas prices. Again, those are very real things. Now, what Biden could do, Biden, in a way to try to lower gas prices, could end the export of gas. We could do that. Again, we do have our own domestic energy supply, but we continue to export oil to other countries onto the global market. Why? Oh, it's because it's not our oil, it's Shell's oil, it's BP's oil. It's privatization. These private corporations would rather the prices remain incredibly high because they can make profit. Massive, massive amounts of profit. And they're doing that to make up for what they lost during COVID, during a lot of the shutdowns. Biden could at least try to put an end to that by banning domestic export and keeping the oil inside of the country in a way to attempt to lower those gas prices. He could also punish corporations that are doing price gouging. He could fire Jerome Powell from the Federal Reserve, put someone in who was actually more progressive to try to, force down that level of inflation. That doesn't treat corporations and banks with kids' gloves, deregulate them. They also say that Biden has not been seen as fully in charge on certain issues, like the baby formula shortage. Well, again, there's a reason that Republicans do tend to refer to him as Sleepy Joe. He's sleeping on the job. He's not doing anything. He's not out there. The president reportedly erupted at his staff for being kept out of the loop on how bad the shortage had become. In public comments, Biden said it took weeks for him to get details of the shortage, despite there being warnings long before that. Now, look, do I think the Republicans intentionally played this up? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But there's also some culpability, right? Yes, when the FDA shut down that plant that had been poisoning children by not, using their money, which, by the way, they spent $5.8 billion on stock buybacks when they knew that their system was broken and was allowing contaminants to get into that baby food. When the FDA shut them down, the president could have kicked into action and said, okay, we got to shut this down. We can't have obviously we can't have them poisoning our children, right? These babies with this formula. Give me a plan to get imports from Canada, from the EU. Let's go. Let's get it in here real quick. He didn't do that. It took quite a long time for them to import baby food. So, which of course allowed Republicans to seize that narrative and jump all over it. And so that is a failure of leadership, of being on the ball. Now, what's worse, of course, is again, they're just not getting it. Politico reports the administration, in response to all of this, will be attempting, and this is their plan, to move to the offense by upping attacks on Republicans and arguing that things would be worse under the opposing party. Part of this offense strategy will be focusing on issues like gun control in the wake of recent mass shootings, as well as abortion in the light of potential Roe v. Wade being overturned. Here's why that's bullshit. That's not going to, hold up to muster. Democratic leadership literally caped for Henry Cuellar. Henry Cuellar is an incredibly corrupt Democrat from Texas. He voted against codifying Roe v. Wade. And he currently holds an A NRA rating. This is who the Democratic establishment backed. It was in a very, very contentious, incredibly close primary race with Jessica Cisneros. I don't even know if they're done with the count yet, despite the fact that Henry Cuellar pulled a Trump and said, oh no, I already won. Don't tell me that you give a damn about doing something about gun control. Don't tell me you give a damn about doing something to protect a woman's right to choose when you back disgusting people like Henry Cuellar. When you back corruption, that man is being investigated by the FBI for oil links to Azerbaijan. No, this is the guy we're going to back. This is the guy we're going to back. Instead of an actual progressive that defends progressive values. It's about corruption. That's what it is. It's corruption. And again, the media has no idea. They just refuse to ignore it. Oh, I can't see the massive corruption. I can't see the money in politics that is flowing from giant corporations into the pockets of these politicians. I can't see it. It doesn't exist. Bullshit. It's killing our democracy. It's going to allow for somebody like Donald Trump, or even worse, to take over in 2024. This corruption. And they just ignore it. They just ignore it. Again, I told you. Joe Biden, not the person for this moment. We got creeping fascism, which is not even creeping anymore. It's full speed running right at us. It's a train that is heading right in our direction. It's going to hit us. And here we have doddering Joe Biden. Not doing a goddamn thing. I really hate being right. Because I don't want to be in this situation. I wanted Joe Biden to actually do something. I didn't have hope for it. But goddamn, you think that maybe he would get smart and go, oh, maybe I should just, I don't know, maybe I should cancel $50,000 of student loan debt. Maybe that might do something. Maybe to stem the fascists. But no, we're just going to point at those guys and say, those guys suck. Aren't we better even though we haven't done anything? No. They aren't better. They are worse. But guess what? You're not doing anything to stop them. It's disgusting. All right. Just the amount of corruption. Now, look, one more thing, and I also think that this is absurd. White House spokesperson Andrew Bates then denied any drama in the White House. Oh, of course. Releasing a statement to the outlet after the story's publication, calling it, quote, simply divorced from reality. Oh, no, everybody inside the White House, big happy family. Nobody is not getting along. Everybody's getting along just wonderfully. It is rainbows and butterflies, and we are just looking forward to doing very, very well in the midterms. Oh, yes. Absolute lie. Absolute lie. No. The president... Hey, look, if the president's frustrated at not getting any credit from the public and the media, then guess what? He should maybe actually do something. Prove me wrong, Joe. Do something.